Hey everybody, Dr. Rick here, dropping in on you. Not gonna be long leaving the office. It's starting to get dark, so I don't have a whole lot of light. It's what, 5:18 here. Been going since 4 o'clock this morning. Had a chance to drop on you once. I want to drop in on you again. First of all, let me stress that we are still in the middle of a targeted fundraiser for a Black Men Lead. If you've paid attention to the videos over the last couple of weeks doing this fundraiser, you know that we are pushing to get the support we need to move into a national network. Been trying to do that for a while, and I've been facilitating what I can. I've connected with people in Chicago, people Wilmington, people in Charlotte, certain places in Florida, Atlanta, obviously in the cities in Texas. I've worked with some individual families, and obviously the work we're doing directly with boys where in the Texas area, because I've worked in Dallas and Houston, Beaumont, and a couple of other places. But check this out. I hate using the term crisis because I think it's overused, and when you overuse something, you desensitize people to the gravity of its meaning. But we are in an identity crisis as a people and in our gender roles. And when it comes to Black males, when that happens, the entire structure begins to collapse, because and I want to show you what I mean by that. There is now an ongoing tit for tat debate on something silly like who's the prize. And you have Black men and Black women debating, or more accurately arguing over who's more valuable to the relationship. Now, what you don't realize is, and maybe in some of this I'm idealistic and old-fashioned in the sense that I believe that you're supposed to value your mate and feel, you should definitely know you're important. You should definitely know your value and your worth, but you should feel your mate is enhancing you and extremely value. You should see the value in your mate, and your mate is supposed to see the value in you. But here's what happens mentally, from a mental processing, brain processing type situation. The moment you move into a relationship and you say, I'm the prize, you immediately devalue the other person in the relationship. You place yourself on a pedestal, which is that person's responsibility. That's the uniqueness about a relationship where you're merging with someone and becoming one. You're trusting that person to hold you up while you hold them up. Because if you don't, you'll have two people fighting for what they feel they need in the relationship instead of trusting the other person to give it. You give somebody something because you see the value in them. If all you're fighting for is to prove your value in the relationship, you can never give the person what they need because it's all about you. But because we don't have an understanding of who we are as a race, as a people, as in our gender roles, in our responsibilities associated with those roles, we have completely lost ourselves. When it happens to men, because of the force of the nature and the dynamic of how things are set up, no one's more important, but people have different roles. Let me explain something to you. We talk about provider all the time. A man is supposed to be a provider, and we've totally commodified the Black man to all he is what he can do financially for his family. That's important. But the truth of the matter is, historically, and in many instances, both parties have contributed, maybe in different ways, but they have contributed. But let's just say dude is capable of doing all that and paying for everything, and that's great. I'm the guy. When I got it, she ain't got to spend it. I don't want her spending it. I got it. So I get that. That's all good. But see, the problem is when you commodify the man, you miss the totality of his value. You miss the fact that he's worth so much more than the money in his pocket. See, he is a protector first and foremost. Before he's a provider, he's a protector. Why? Because there will be times, no matter how well set up he is, that things will get tight. Anything could happen that could eliminate his ability to provide. He could lose his job. He could get sick or whatever. But he could lose his job, or the economy can tank it. He's got to rebuild and he's got to start over. So that can happen. But you know what will never happen as long as he is healthy? His ability, he will never lose his ability and his willingness to fight, to defend, and protect his family. He's going to always provide a secure environment to the best of his ability. Now, being financially safe is a part of security. So that's a part of what he provides, but he also provides, hey, nobody's going to harm you in my presence. Nobody's going to come into our home and harm you. I'm going to defend it with my life. That part. Then he brings a sense of identity and purpose. That's why a woman assumes her husband's last name. That's why the children assume their father's last name, a girl, until she what? Marries underneath the covering of a what? Another man. This has nothing to do with patriarchal control. This is how the dynamic works. He is the force and the power that provides an environment for her to do the things she's supernaturally capable of doing, especially when we're talking about black women. Black woman brings life to the equation. The black man brings security, power, and force, which protects and provides that safe environment for her to use her unbelievable and uncanny ability to bring life, not just to his seeds, but to his vision. But when we don't understand ourselves, when we got a bunch of boys growing up thinking about it's all about the dollar, they sell out for the dollar because that's what they're being judged by. That's what people are going to assess their manhood by, is how much money they have. Well, you have a bunch of people running around with money that haven't matured into manhood. They don't know how to treat a woman. They don't know how to father children. I mean, they don't know how to be a father to children. They don't know how to assume those responsibilities with maturity, with patience, with force, with commitment. That is because they have not been properly trained, properly taught, properly indoctrinated and socialized into the idea of black manhood. What does it take to be a black man? Being a black man isn't the same as being a man in any other race, any other ethnic environment. It simply isn't. There is an entirely different force at play when you're talking about being a man, a black man. And these boys are being born into environments where a lot of men are absent. They've been born into environments where you got a lot of wayward behavior, a lot of non-productive, non-empowering behavior. You got a lot observing a lot of observations of black males mishandling and mistreating and harming black women. You got a lot of them not being financially responsible for their progeny. You have a lot of them that are criminal-minded with no desire to legitimize and grow into something powerful and forceful within the community that can help the community grow. You have a bunch of them that have absolutely no commitment to the community and no responsibility or accountability to the community, and it shows. So what do? We are going to have to be extremely active in developing the minds and the hearts of these young men, these young boys. When I tell you that Black Men Leaders a Rite of Passage initiative, I mean that in the greatest sense of the word. I'm not talking about some little program you're gonna hang out at for 2 or 3 hours a day to waste time because your mom's not home. I'm talking about something so specific that there's no doubt left in your mind who you are and what you're supposed to be doing in this world. That you're not going to be shaken when things get tough. That you're not going to be shaken when somebody tells you something different. That you're going to be able to stand firmly on the seeds that have been planted within you and have taken root. That you are unshakable. And it's the unshakableness of people like Malcolm X that had his socialization take place in a dark place, which was prison, but he was re-socialized in prison. You know, no matter who you talk about, there's a point in which they became ingrained and embedded and rooted in what they believed in, to the point that they were willing to die for it. Khalid Muhammad, Amos Wilson, Dr. Naeem Akbar. I could go on and on of those who I look up to, that I've seen walk it, talk it, teach it, live it, and breathe it. And that's what we got to imagine, when it stops being one person here, one person there, that person there. Imagine when it stops being the person who's the voice that everybody goes, man, that dude's onto something. And it starts to be every child, every young male. Every young male is speaking the same thing that our bunions of freedom and empowerment were speaking. When it becomes the common message, the common voice, the common language of our young boys, the things we've heard from Dr. Amos Wilson, Dr. Naeem Akbar, Dr. Claude Anderson, Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, all the ones we saw do something special. What happens when all of our young boys are thinking that way? What happens? And don't tell me it can't happen. It can happen. The very way that they've been programmed, they can be reprogrammed. But it's going to take a concerted and intensified commitment by the people of the community to sit up and say, our boys are worth saving. Why? Because our boys are going to determine how well our girls do. Because no matter how smart and intelligent, how well educated, how well financially prepared our girls are, without the physical protection of our men, they're vulnerable. There's a reason that the black man has been the primary target of white supremacy racism. Because if he's not in place, it doesn't matter how much freedom and fluidity and mobility you give the black woman. Because anytime you want to, you can shut that down physically, forcefully, and with certainty. But if you have somebody willing to fight and defend her with their life, it's a whole different ball game. When you get to a point where you offend her, you offend him, it's a different ball game. We've got to level the playing field, and we cannot do that on the current course. So I'm challenging everybody. Let's stand up. Let's be heard. And I don't mean that just verbally. I mean speak with your pocketbook. Speak with your wallets. Speak with your action. Get in the community. Come join what we're doing. Come learn, because a big part of what we're going to accumulate cost in and expenses in is training. We need to have training. We need to train communities. We need to train community leaders. We need to train people who are willing to actually house these processes and take them through across America. The problem is with us, we don't dream big. We've been taught to think small of ourselves. Anytime someone starts talking about doing something exceptional, we start hearing about how it's not possible, how it's too late, how it'll never happen. That defeatist mindset is what holds you down, not the fact that it's impossible. There's no such thing. I've seen way too many things declared impossible and proven wrong in my life. Hell, I'm a living testimony. I bear witness to that. I've done quite a few things that were considered impossible. I'm still doing things that people don't understand how I'm doing, because I don't buy into a defeatist mindset that it's, oh, war is us and we can't do anything. The white man's got his foot on my neck and it's just no way. We so far down, too many people stupid, too many people tell them nobody's woke, all this other bull crap. Well, if they ain't woke, wake them the hell up. And no, it's not going to be easy. If you've been living your life the same way for 35, 45 years or more, it's not going to be easy. What you're going to do, just sit up and say, I give up? Hell no. I will die fighting on this battlefield, because I am not a quitter. And when I look at these boys, and when I say boys, I mean as young as you can think, up into these teenage years, and I see them, And I see the pain in their mother's eyes because of the fear of not knowing what's going to happen with them, because they're not aligned right and they're not headed in the right direction. They're misguided, misled, angry, frustrated, bitter. I mean, so many things. I see me. I see a young 14-year-old boy who never knew his father, and his father just died on him. First time he saw him was in his casket. And now he's got to make sense of the world without ever knowing why his father didn't think enough of him to stop by once. Thankfully, I had my mother's grandfather, which was my great-grandfather, and his wife, my great-grandmother, who adopted me and reared me. So I had a man but that didn't take that question away. I had to overcome that. Hell, I was probably 30 before I stopped proving to a dead man that I was worthy of his time. So I know the frustration of these boys, and let me tell you, that's pain. They're acting in anger, but it's from pain. But what I'm telling you is, nothing heals that pain like a true sense of identity and purpose. I'm telling you because I know personally, and I know what I've done in teaching these young men. We've got to touch these men. They're the future. Whether you want to admit it or not, you're not going to get black people to where you think you want us to be without these boys. So again, I'm calling on you. Stand up, step up, show some love. On that note, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. Have a great day.